He was young, charismatic, a tech genius. Gerald Cotten, Canada's golden boy of Bitcoin. Investors said he was the future of finance. But behind the glowing screens and crypto wallets was a dangerous secret. This is not just a story about cryptocurrency. It's about how one man made $250 million disappear, including himself. Welcome to Money Traps, true stories of financial greed. Born in Ontario, raised in Belleville, Gerald Cotten was the kind of student teachers loved and classmates underestimated. Quiet, brilliant, obsessed with computers. At just 15, he discovered Bitcoin, back when one coin cost less than a pizza. He wasn't chasing money, he was chasing code. By his early 20s, he wasn't just dabbling, he was building. In 2013, he launched QuadragaCX, a Bitcoin exchange with a bold promise. Buy and sell crypto instantly. No delays, no banks, just freedom. Canada had never seen anything like it. Within a year, thousands were pouring in money, students, retirees, entrepreneurs. The platform grew, and so did Cotten's influence. He hosted crypto meetups, spoke at tech events, took selfies with fans. The press called him Canada's crypto wunderkind. But behind a friendly smile was a man holding the keys to billions. While traditional exchanges had teams, controls, and backups, QuadragaCX had Gerald. Just Gerald. He was the sole holder of the platform's cold wallets, offline crypto storage supposedly used for security. No board of directors, no financial oversight. Investors didn't know. Their money lived in a system where one man held the password. And if that man disappeared, so would everything else. By 2017, Bitcoin hit $20,000. Quadraga was booming. Cotten bought a yacht, flew private, married a woman named Jennifer Robertson. But some early whispers began to spread. Withdrawals were slow. Customer support went dark. And some investors noticed their funds weren't being recorded on the blockchain. Something wasn't adding up. But then, the crash came. Bitcoin plunged. Users panicked. And Cotten? He took a honeymoon to India. In December 2018, Quadraga's founder, just 30 years old, was reported dead in India. Cause of death: Crohn's disease. Location: a remote hospital in Jaipur. Timing: just days after signing his last will and testament, leaving everything to his wife. Investors were stunned. Emails flooded in. Where's my money? What's happening? The platform froze. $250 million in assets gone. And the man who held the passwords? Buried. In a country halfway across the world. But something was off. No one had seen the body. The death certificate had errors. And investigators found signs of one final, massive transfer after his supposed death. Did Gerald Cotten really die? Or did the golden boy of Bitcoin become the perfect ghost? Gerald Cotten is dead. Where is he? The fake death files. December 2018. The crypto world was stunned. Gerald Cotten, the CEO of Canada's biggest Bitcoin exchange, was declared dead in India. But as investigators looked deeper, the cracks in that story began to show. Was this really a tragic death? Or the perfect escape plan? Cotten had supposedly died from Crohn's disease at a private hospital in Jaipur, India. But questions came quickly. Why was a 30-year-old tech millionaire getting treated in a remote, under-equipped facility? The death certificate misspelled his name. The doctor's signature didn't match the hospital's records. The body was flown back to Canada and buried quickly. No autopsy, no independent verification, just a closed casket for the man holding $250 million in crypto. That didn't sit right. Just 12 days before his death, Cotten signed a will. He left everything to his wife, Jennifer Robertson, a $9 million estate, luxury cars, yacht, private airplane access, and in the fine print, zero mention of passwords or access keys to Quadraga's funds. Was this an innocent oversight or a carefully scripted endgame? As weeks passed, Quadraga users grew suspicious. On forums and YouTube channels, theories exploded. Some believed Cotten had faked his death. Others claimed he'd run off to a private island. One post read, "This wasn't Crohn's, this was crypto fraud." Then came the discovery that changed everything. A group of amateur sleuths traced Cotten's supposed cold wallets, the offline storage where Quadriga held customer funds. They were empty. In fact, they'd been drained months before his death. Even worse, some wallets showed activity after he died. Coins are being moved, mixed, and laundered. If he was dead, who had the keys? Cotten had always loved magic tricks. In fact, friends said he often talked about faking his own death as a joke. But now it didn't feel like a joke. Anonymous sources reported possible sightings. Dubai, Hong Kong, the Bahamas. Was Cotten really buried? Or was he watching from the shadows, laughing at it all? With regulators closing in and investors demanding justice, a full investigation began. But what they uncovered next would shock even the most hardened skeptics. They trusted him. Millions in crypto handed over with hope. But behind the sleek interface of Quadriga CX was a digital house of cards, and Gerald Cotten was shuffling the deck. Quadriga CX was marketed as Canada's most secure Bitcoin exchange. But here's the truth no one saw. There was no proper cold wallet system, no multi-signature security, no real-time trade validation. Gerald Cotten was manually updating balances, faking deposits, and trading against his own customers, using their money. At its peak, Quadriga CX was holding over $250 million worth of customer assets. But investigators discovered over 75% of that was already gone before Cotten's death, moved through a maze of wallets, laundered across exchanges, and converted into cash, gold, and privacy coins. The perfect disappearing act. But Cotten wasn't operating alone. Suspicion fell on his wife, Jennifer Robertson. She claimed to know nothing, but shared bank accounts, overlapping signatures, and sudden wealth told a different story. She moved money into shell companies, bought properties under aliases, and then tried to give some of it back. A guilty conscience or a legal defense strategy? Thousands of victims, savings wiped out, retirement dreams shattered. One investor lost $400,000, his kid's college fund. Another, a single mom, worked 2 jobs to invest and lost everything. They weren't speculators, they were believers. But Cotten wasn't a CEO, he was a magician, performing the cruelest trick of all. As the lawsuits began piling up and regulators started closing in, a new twist emerged. Emails, documents, and private messages, pointing to someone even bigger behind the scenes. Gerald Cotten may have been the face, but what if he wasn't the brain? New evidence reveals there may have been someone else, a silent partner, a digital ghost, a puppeteer pulling the strings behind Quadriga CX. Investigators digging through encrypted emails kept encountering one name, Michael Patron, once listed as a co-founder of Quadriga CX. He had disappeared from the company's public records, just as Cotten rose to crypto stardom. But who was Michael Patron, and why did he vanish from the spotlight? Turns out, Michael Patron wasn't his real name. He was born Omar Danani, a convicted felon linked to Shadow Crew, an early 2000s cybercrime ring. He had served time in the US for identity theft and bank fraud. After prison, he rebranded and re-entered the world through crypto. Patron had the experience in underground finance. Cotten had the charm and coding chops. Together, they built a money-moving machine. But when the heat turned up, Patron walked away, vanishing into the shadows with his share of the fortune. Years later, Patron resurfaced under yet another alias, Zero Xifu, co-founder of the Wonderland DeFi protocol. It was a billion-dollar ecosystem until a whistleblower exposed his identity. Crypto, Twitter exploded. Investors panicked. Another empire collapsed overnight. Authorities now believe a large portion of Quadriga-CX's missing funds were routed through accounts tied to entities linked with Patron, hidden across offshore havens, laundered through anonymous altcoins, and used to buy villas, lumbos, and silence. But there's still one mystery: the body, the funeral, the sealed coffin. Rumors are swirling. Was Gerald Cotten's death real? Or the final trick in the biggest financial illusion of the decade? A mysterious trip to India, a sudden illness, a death certificate rushed through, and a closed casket funeral. This wasn't just the death of a man. It was the death of $215 million in customer funds. But many aren't buying the story, because nothing adds up. In December 2018, Gerald Cotten and his new bride, Jennifer Robertson, left for a honeymoon to India. But just days into the trip, Gerald was reportedly hospitalized with severe stomach pain. The official cause? Crohn's disease, a condition he had, but that rarely causes death this sudden. Less than 24 hours after admission, he was declared dead. The death certificate was issued in India, but with several key errors. His name was misspelled, his passport number didn't match, and most bizarre of all, it stated he died in a hospital that had no ICU. Back in Canada, Cotten's body arrived in a sealed coffin. No one outside the family saw it. No autopsy, no verification, just a quiet burial and a louder question: was there ever a body inside? Within weeks, Jennifer Robertson began liquidating assets, selling off luxury properties, transferring funds. She claimed she had no access to Quadriga's cold wallets. Yet millions quietly moved in and out of wallets linked to Cotten's past devices. In 2019, suspicious investors requested Gerald's body be exhumed. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police opened an investigation. But as of now, no body has been confirmed. The grave remains sealed, and Gerald Cotten remains possibly alive. Recent sightings have been reported. A man matching Cotten's appearance in Bangkok. A Reddit user claims he was scammed by a Jerry C. in Dubai. Could Gerald Cotten be living under a new name, enjoying the billions he once promised to safeguard? They were cold, silent, inaccessible, or so they claimed. But 1 year after Gerald Cotten's death, his digital wallets came to life. And the question wasn't just who was moving the money, it was why now? On December 17, 2019, crypto analysts noticed something bizarre. Over $400,000 in Bitcoin moved out of a wallet long believed to be frozen. The wallet belonged to Quadriga-CX. The keys, reportedly only known by Gerald Cotten. Was someone cracking the code? Or was Cotten still alive and trading in the shadows? The transactions didn't stop. They bounced between obscure wallets, were laundered through mixers, then converted to privacy coins like Monero. Whoever was behind this had technical skills and a plan to stay invisible. The FBI joined forces with Chainalysis, a blockchain forensics firm. They tracked wallet fingerprints, browser cookies, and IP logs. Their findings? Multiple logins traced back to VPNs routed through Eastern Europe. And in one chilling lead, a device last seen logging into Quadriga in 2018 was suddenly back online. In Dubai, where crypto moves fast and oversight is minimal, one man, known only as Jay Carter, had been buying up digital real estate and high-end NFTs. His payment wallet? Linked to the same address that held Quadriga funds. Reporters confronted Jennifer Robertson. Do you know where the wallets are going? She said nothing, but her legal team quietly filed to block further questions. What is she hiding? And who was really controlling the crypto empire Cotten left behind? And then a bombshell. A Reddit thread appears. I never died. I outsmarted the system. The post was live for 17 minutes. Then it vanished. IP trace? You guessed it. Routed through Iceland. Was a hoax or Gerald himself? He was a genius with a plan. A man who studied crypto, fraud, and faking deaths. For Gerald Cotten, vanishing wasn't an accident. It was always the plan. Investigators scoured Cotten's laptops. They found fragments of old wallet files, encrypted backups, a digital breadcrumb trail, but one that went cold. Then a cybersecurity firm hired by investors decrypted a backup. Inside, a list of exchanges in the Seychelles, Belize, and Malta, where Quadriga funds had been quietly moved months before he died. Gerald Cotten's name never appeared in the Panama Papers, but his shell companies did, hidden under aliases, managed by proxies. And one of them, Gold Key Holdings, made 6 payments to a funeral home in Jaipur, India, months before his so-called honeymoon. 2 weeks before flying to India, Cotten bought a $5 million life insurance policy. It had one odd clause, a payout even if the body wasn't recovered, as long as a death certificate was issued. Jennifer Robertson was listed as the sole beneficiary. Just days after Cotten's death, the claim was filed and paid. In Montenegro, a yacht named Proof of Life was registered to a Canadian shell corp. The boat had no public history, no photos, but drone footage showed someone resembling Cotten boarding it in 2021 with facial reconstruction scars. Voice recognition from nearby surveillance matched 86% to Cotten's past interviews. A private investigator used Cotten's emails to train an AI chatbot, hoping to uncover patterns or hidden truths. But what happened stunned everyone. The AI started completing sentences Cotten never wrote, with facts only the real Gerald would know. Was it digital hallucination, or had someone fed the AI from the inside? We may never know the full truth, but here's what we do know. Over $190 million disappeared. The wallets kept moving after Cotten's death, and the man who claimed to be the only one with the keys may still be alive, somewhere offshore, watching us try to decode his greatest con. What do you think? Is Gerald Cotten dead or hiding in plain sight? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Subscribe to Money Traps for more true stories of financial deception. Smash the notification bell to get notified when we drop new stories. Hit the like button and share with friends and family. Thank you.